Hello, I'm Conference Evangelist Paul Morelli, and I'd like to present a program that we are initiating in the Indiana Conference, the Western Indiana District of the Western Pennsylvania Conference. We're doing it conference-wide, but we're going to roll it out in Indiana District first. This is a brainchild of Reverend James Pond, so we're going to do it there first and see if we can get it rolling and then continue spreading it throughout the whole conference. It's called Mustard Seed Ministry. And we're titling the program itself Geographical Evangelist. And I'd like to start with something that I learned from a man named Simon Sinek. He wrote a book called Start With Why. And often we know what we do and we know how we do it, but we lose why we do it. And without the why, we won't sacrifice, we won't go above and beyond, we'll just go through the motions. And so I believe why is very important when we do a program to start with. And so we believe in the Christian faith that the world is facing a pandemic far worse than COVID. It started a long time ago, and this pandemic has a mortality rate of 100%. And we believe that Jesus provided not just a vaccine, but the actual cure for the pandemic that affects all of us on this earth. And we also believe that we, his body, the church, have been given the cure purchased by Jesus, but offered free to all who will receive it, for us to give out to anyone and everyone we can. And just like the vaccine for COVID, of course, not everybody will choose to take it. They may not accept this cure from Jesus either, but that's not our problem, that's not our job. Our job is to make the offer, to give the gift to anyone who will take it. So how do we offer this gift to all? Evangelism, the very word, I know it's fallen out of vogue in modern times, but the word basically boils down to the concept of messenger of the gospel, or messenger of good news, is what gospel means. Romans 10:14 in the message says something like this: everyone who calls help God gets help. But how can people call for help if they don't know who to trust? And how can they know who to trust if they haven't heard of the one who can be trusted? And how can anyone hear if nobody tells them? And how is anybody going to tell them unless somebody is sent to do it? Ephesians 4:11 says that one of the gifts that Jesus gave to the church is the gift of evangelists. And evangelists are those who, the way they're wired and God has gifted them, do this by second nature. They go out and give people this good news. Natural Church Development's founder, Christian Swartz, did an assessment of 40,000 churches worldwide as he developed natural church development, and was trying to find out what makes a healthy church and what makes a church not as healthy. And in the process of doing that, he discovered something on the side, and that is that only 1 to 2% most of any local congregation will be a gifted supernatural evangelist, somebody who God has specifically gifted to do that. Now, that doesn't sound like much, but in an annual conference with, over 800 churches somewhere, we ought to have about 1,000 evangelists running around out there doing what they do. But currently we have one general evangelist, Rev John Zimmerman, and 3 of us conference evangelists. That's all. And so Reverend Pond, our district superintendent, Indiana District, passed on to me a vision he had for a program he called Geographical Evangelist, which our general evangelist, Reverend Zimmerman, has implemented underneath his ministry about Face 180, and then he's asked me to be the director of the program for the moment. The concept that we want to do will work something like this. We want to locate those throughout the conference that are gifted as evangelists and encourage them to get training and certification so that they have credibility, so that pastors feel comfortable trusting them to do things within their churches. And there's a training that Reverend Zimmerman has developed called, it's from beadisciple.com, and it's a certification program for evangelism. It's 4 semesters. It's a 1-year program. And if you complete that course, you can request from the Conference Evangelist Board, who Rev John Emigh is the chair of, to be considered as a conference evangelist. And we have said on that committee that we would accept that as the basic entry-level education to get you started. What we're hoping to do is to locate at least one conference evangelist in each district to oversee the district, and then to establish within that district natural sub-districts. The districts are fairly large, so we're looking to find what those natural places are where people gather and do their business. It can be a school district. In Du Bois, it's Brockway and Kersey and Penfield, and the towns around that tend to come here, Sykesville. At some point, they tend to go to Punxsy, and of course, someplace below Punxsy, they go to Indiana, and then obviously down south below that, and then you go out around Clarion. People from Brookville tend to go to Clarion. So there are those natural sub-districts, and we're trying to find those, what they are, and establish them, find a conference evangelist to work over them, and then within them to find these evangelists that God has put there to work under what we call a geographical evangelist, where they would work within one of those sub-districts. And they would do several things. They would work to establish or reinvigorate evangelism committees within the churches, find somebody who is passionate about evangelism to chair those, and then to help them develop a program to do some sort of outreach. Each evangelist will probably have a different style of evangelism. We're not all wired like Billy Graham. He's one of the styles. Mark Middleberg has a book called Becoming a Contagious Christian that we've used in the conference committee on evangelism for several years, which says there are 6 styles basically. There's the direct, that's like Peter on the day of Pentecost. There's the testimonial style, that's the blind man who says, once I was blind and now I can see. The invitational style is the woman at the well who said, come and see a man. Come with me and come and see a man. There's the relational style like Matthew, who had a Matthew party and invited Jesus to it and had his friends come over. There's the intellectual style like the Apostle Paul when he was on Mars Hill speaking to the philosophers of the day, doing what we call apologetic work. And then there was the serving style, which was Dorcas or Tabitha in the book of Acts. So as each evangelist does what they do, maybe they already have a ministry, they do well, we're hoping that they will help another church duplicate that ministry so that there'll be replication of outreach efforts. We want them to help other churches to find out how that church can do evangelism the way that church sees evangelism to be. And then we're hoping that they will find other people as they do this in these churches who also have that gift of evangelism, and for lack of a better term, recruit them into the geographical evangelism program so that we can continue to grow it. We've set a 10 per year goal with 110 years, but I'd love to see us outpace that goal, and I think we can do it very easily. So again, the main goal is to reproduce ministry, partner with churches to initiate new outreach efforts, and to locate God's gifted evangelist. Isaiah 52:7, first part, I'm sure many of you learned this as a child, but it says, how beautiful on the mountains are the feet of the messenger who brings good news, the good news of peace and salvation. And you remember our definition of evangelism, a messenger of good news. And so may we as a conference send those beautiful feet into our annual conference, take the message of good news to all within our area of influence. We have a website. It's under construction, but you can keep an eye on it as it develops, and we'll have more information on there as we go, including the names and hopefully pictures of a geographical evangelist as we discover them. It's evangelismcoop.org. It's evangelismcoop.org. And like I said, that will be developing as time goes on. Also, that certificate in evangelism program can be found on badisciple.com, and it's IFDC 310, 320, 330, and 340. That's the class numbers. So I hope that if you're a pastor and this interests you, that you will get a hold of me. If you know somebody that you believe is a gifted evangelist, pass that name on to me. If you want to know more, feel free to call myself or Reverend John Zimmerman, and we'll help you with it all we can. If you're a district superintendent, and I've asked already for those sub-districts, if you can get to those to me, that would be a big help. And if you know some people, perhaps too, some of the people maybe we selected for the Denman Award in the past, or other people who we can help pull together to support each other with best practices that we'll use this website to track. And hopefully we'll build a list where you can go on there if you need somebody that can help you start a jail ministry. There'll be some evangelist who's done that effectively already that can help you do that, or perhaps a nursing home ministry, or an outreach dinner, or whatever it may be, fresh expressions. We can find somebody who's doing it effectively that can walk alongside of you as a mentor or a coach and help you. So I'm praying God's blessings on you as you consider this new program. If you think it can help you, feel free to give one of us a call. Thank you so much.